After Sochi, I lived 1 year in St. Petersburg because I had some project there. And from St. Petersburg, one investor said to me that he will open a very big Italian restaurant in Kazakhstan, and he asked me to help. I went, I stayed 4 months. Climb here, it's very nice. In Almaty, there are around 300 sunny days for a year. I'm Italian. For me, this is something that's very important, to see the sun. I like enjoying, and I say, you know what, давай, let's try to open, because I have my consulting company in Russia, and I open Fatucci Consulting in Kazakhstan, and little by little, I find some clients, 1, 2, 3, Giardino, and okay, now I'm here 2 years and a half. I couldn't tell you that I will stay here always. Now, for example, they finish my collaboration with Giardino. I'm looking for several projects here in Kazakhstan, but even in Uzbekistan, can be back to Russia, can be Dubai, can be wherever. Where it will be a nice opportunity, I will go.
Fascinating people with stories to share, fabulous wines and the best local foods to accompany them, and beautiful places to discover and visit. All of this and more on Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on the Italian Wine Podcast. Join me for a new episode every Tuesday. Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Today we travel to a far-off land, Kazakhstan, to the city of Almaty, to meet my guest Fabrizio Fatucci, Italian chef and consultant. Welcome, Fabrizio. Many thanks for joining us today. I know you're very busy and have been traveling all around Central Asia quite a lot, so I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. How are you today?
Hi, Mark. I'm okay. Friday, always okay.
Yeah, it's a good day. Friday's a good day. Fabrizio, I've never been to Kazakhstan, but my Italian Wine Podcast colleagues were in Almaty last year with the Vinitaly International Academy. I think that's where you may have met Elena, for example. And I've been told that Kazakhstan is a really lively and young and exciting place. Is it a fun place to work and live? And can you describe Almaty and Kazakhstan for us, a country that's famous along the Silk Road that connects East and West? Our listeners are located all over the world, and like me, they don't really know what Kazakhstan's like. So give us a picture of Almaty and a picture of Kazakhstan in general.
Yes, of course. Actually, I was in Kazakhstan first time around 12 or 13 years ago for a consulting. I make a masterclass in Almaty and a dinner for the previous president in Astana. And already at the time, I like very much Almaty because it was a nice picture for me, and is just on the bottom of some very beautiful mountains. After 2 years and a half ago, I came back to Almaty for a project, not Giardino, but another project. They called me from St. Petersburg. I was in St. Petersburg at the time to open a new Italian restaurant. And I came here in September. We opened this restaurant in 4 months in December. My contract was finished. But I was so enjoying it, the place, because Almaty is really beautiful city. It's a really beautiful city. It's really high level of quality of life. There are some problems in Almaty, like for example smog, especially in winter time when everything is on with warming the houses. So there is a big level of smog. This is a problem of this kind of city. But all the rest, I like it, enjoy it a lot. First, climb here, it's very nice. In Almaty, there are around 300 sunny days for a year. I'm Italian. For me, this is something that's very important, to see the sun. A lot of green around, a lot of greens. It's a really green city, a lot of park in this city. And in 20 minutes, you are in the mountain, but in the real mountain, we're speaking about 2,000, 2,500 meters. And especially in spring, summer, and autumn, you have a lot of possibility to stay inside the nature. A lot of beautiful place here around. I didn't know about it. I was not expecting, but it was really big surprise for me because a lot of really beautiful nature and very close to the city. Okay, there are places that you have to drive for 2-3 hours, but if you want, in 20 minutes from the center, 30 maximum, you are in Medeo. Medeo, it's a ski resort that is absolutely on the top of the city. And now they are building absolutely a new resort here in Medeo They said it will be ready in 2030. Really high level ski resort with restaurant, hotels, and everything. More than 70 kilometers skiing, sky track. Yeah, very nice, very nice. Quality of life is very nice. For the rest, if we speak about level of hospitality and everything, is still not at the level of Russia, of Europe, because the tourism is not developed like, for example, in Uzbekistan. In Uzbekistan, there is a very big amount of tourists every year because Samarkand and actually a lot. And I was in Tashkent last week, and I really feel that they are more ready for a high level service of hospitality.
Okay, well, that's really interesting. But I'm very interested to hear your description of Almaty. It sounds like a really beautiful place with the
It is.
mountains just 20 minutes away, this beautiful ski resort nearby. What is the smog from? Is it an industrial city? I know it's an important commercial center.
No, actually, it's not like this. Commercially, yes, but the business is developed in Astana, in the capital. This is the whole capital of Kazakhstan. They move to Astana, the capital of the country, because of geopolitical things. Because Almaty is too close. It's really too close. Less than 100 kilometers to China, to Mongolia, and it's too close to the border, too close. You know, in geopolitics, this is not very nice. So they move the capital in the center of the Kazakhstan, in Astana. And in Astana is financial business. There are more money than in Almaty. Kazakhstan is becoming a rich country because of a lot of petrol, gas, and all these kind of things. But Almaty, it's more a cultural capital of Kazakhstan.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is the biggest city. Here there lives 3.5 million of people. In Astana, 1.5.
Oh my goodness, it's a huge city. I had no idea it was so big.
Not so big, but lives here 3.5 million people.
Yeah, that's a big city. Fabrizio, I'm dying to know more about how you came to Kazakhstan. But before that, tell me about yourself, where you're from, what you've done in some of the places you've worked. I know you're from Rome originally, where you studied and worked, but you've traveled a lot, haven't you? You've worked in some exciting places.
Yeah, a lot, a lot. I just upgrade my resume this week because I have to send to some clients. Yeah, I born in Rome 54 years ago, and I make my study. I make the alberghiero in Spoleto. It's a hotellery school. And after I start to work in a restaurant business, and I touch everything from washing the plate in the trattoria, family trattoria, to have stage in 3 stars Michelin restaurant, Sant'Agata, Don Alfonso, Sant'Agata to Due Golfi. And no, I make a lot of experience. First 23 years I was in Italy working in some restaurant. I had 1 year in Costa Rica. I worked in pizzeria, restaurant, but it was just, younger's trip. It's not so professional trip, but anyway, give me a lot too. And I worked in some restaurant, but not high level. After I decided to move to London, and I lived in London 3 years in 5 years. Like I was 8 months in London. After I came back to Italy, I make season in Italy. After I go back to actually 3 years in 5 years in London. That's why I speak a little bit of English. I had experience in London. My first experience was like Kumi in the Hotel Savoy. It's Savoy on the river, on the Thames. 5 stars luxury. I mean,
Very famous hotel.
very famous. And my first experience was to make a breakfast in the Savoy every morning. At 5 in the morning, I have to be in the kitchen
So cooking the English breakfast then.
to cooking only scrambled eggs. We have
Oh,
these rules that every 15 minutes we have to prepare fresh scramble to put in breakfast from 6 in the morning till 12. It was breakfast time, and we make only only scrambled eggs, scramble and scramble every 15 minutes, new.
okay. Let me ask you, Fabrizio, what's the secret of making perfect scrambled eggs?
Oh, it's cooking very little. I mean, first, how I like it. English like that should be more cooked. How I like more juicy, and don't break a lot the eggs for me. I like that it will be more like this consistent, like juicy, yeah, and
Okay, nice and soft.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. It means that they have to cook maximum 1 minute 90 seconds, maximum. And actually, there is who puts some milk, some cream inside, or something else, some stock inside. No, we put only eggs, salt, peppers, and that's it. But the funny thing is, there was some Indian people coming every night at midnight that they just open eggs. We cook around 1,500 eggs every day.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. That's a
disgusting.
lot of eggs.
Yeah. That's why I worked there for 4 months, and after I say, "Hey guys, thanks a lot, but or you move me to another position, or I find another job." And but anyway, in London was absolutely easy to find a job. I started to work in some Italian restaurant after, because it was the time that Mark White was the most famous, not only England chef, a worldwide chef, very famous. And I went to him, to his restaurant, and tried to speak with him. I couldn't speak with him. I speak with a manager, but went there many times. At the end, the manager was tired to see me and say me, listen, Mark takes one consulting. The name was Uma Restaurant in Nicebridge. And say, go there. They find a chef de partie. They're looking for a chef de partie. I went there. It was absolutely English food. I mean, modern English food. The menu was made by Mark White. So at the end, I have possibility to work in some project with Mark White. I even meet him because he came several times to see, and was the good experience there. And several Italian restaurants, Zafferano, several Italian restaurants. I worked there. After I came back to Italy, I decided that I want to grow up my skills. Before these 5 years, I make one summer like a stage in 4 months stage in 3 stars Michelin. It was Don Alfonso in Sant'Agata su Due Golfi.
Beautiful, wonderful place.
Absolutely, yeah, and wonderful people, wonderful family. It was a very good experience for me and opened my mind and my eyes on the high level. What does it mean cooking in a high level? After that one, I came from London last time. I started to work for several projects, for Renzo Piano Auditorium, for Ketum Bar, that was the first Italian fusion restaurant, for Il Convivio, 1 stars Michelin. And after I decided, because I very like to teach people, to teach my chefs around, my cooks around, and in Italy opens the biggest culinary school. The Gambero Rosso opened this big culinary school. I know that you know Gambero Rosso. We open the Città del Gusto. Is a very big building, 7th floor building, completely dedicated on food, with congress hall, banquets hall, pizzeria, culinary studio, culinary theater, rooftop wine bar and restaurant, with studio of the Gambero Rosso channel. That was the first European TV channel. We make the first live action of culinary studio, like Master Chef. We was the first to make Master Chef in Italy, but it was our school. We make professional courses, and a lot of our students now have stars Michelin in Italy, and they rules a lot of famous restaurant. And it was very interesting for you, very nice, because we have the Theater of Gusto. It was really a theater inside of this building, and we're on the stage, the chef cooking, and we with his brigada preparing the food that he prepared on the stage for all the people that are sitting, because it was tables around like a theater, and the stage the chef preparing. And so they came Adria, they came Pierre Gagnier. Every week was some very important chef from Italy and from all around the world.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
Absolutely. Because we from the school give support to these chefs that's coming. And so at the same time, I teach to my guys, but I learn from these stars of the kitchen, from Carlo Cracco, Cannavacciuolo, Ducasse, Pirangelini, and all these great chefs came to us. We helped them to prepare this dinner and the morning masterclass, me and the teachers, because I was the main chef of the school. And I was
Oh,
I was the resident chef of the school, so I was always in the school.
Well, it sounds like that was a great job. What then attracted you to move to Russia?
Actually, I was tired because I was learning a lot. I mean, I was teaching and learning. The school was 2 years. Take it to me. I make only school. Sometimes I make some little consulting or some banquets, but I want to take all the knowledges that I learn and bring somewhere. And I was tired to stay in Italy. Actually, I love to travel. I love to go around. I feel that for me, it's a kind of mission, to go out and bring the Italian culture and philosophy of food all around. So one girl called me, like me, I was the resident chef of the school. Called me from St. Petersburg, one Italian girl, saying me, I have a client. He want to open an Italian restaurant in St. Petersburg. We are speaking about 2003. And she said to me, we are looking for a chef. Do you have some guys from your school that you can recommend to us? And okay, I hear after I ask how much you pay for this one. I hear that money that they are ready to pay. I say, you know what? Maybe I come. So he came from Rome. We meet. After I came to St. Petersburg again, I saw the project. The project was very ambitious, and I saw the level of the kitchen in St. Petersburg. I think here I can do a lot of things. Here I can make a lot of things. So I decided to accept this project. We rules this project for 3 years, and no, the idea it was that I have to stay 6 months in St. It was just consulting, but at the end I remained in Russia for 20 years.
For 20 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Does Russia have a strong appreciation of Italian food and culture?
Yeah, they love a lot. They love. But actually, to be honest, maybe in Asia a little bit less because they have big culture of food, for example, China, Japan. But everybody loves Italian food, but not because it's simple food, very understandable. It's make food from product. It's not make from this big of creativity. But I know very few people that don't like some spaghetti with tomato or some pizza or some scallopine or some fish with olives and capers, or tiramisu or gelato or burrata. Very little people don't like it. Maybe some girls can say, no, it's too fat. But even this one is not true because the Mediterranean food diet is not fat. It's not true that needs to eat pasta every day. So everybody likes Italians. Everybody likes Italian food, Italian wine, and Italian atmosphere. So yes, for us, for me, that I'm a chef, Italian chef, I have a big plus that Italian food is really appreciated everywhere, even here in Kazakhstan. Everybody likes.
Okay, so in St. Petersburg, did you need to adapt the Italian dishes for the local taste, or did they want?
Actually, I am the first one that prepared the real carbonara in Russia. The first one. In St. Petersburg, for sure. Maybe in Moscow someone do it, but actually I try to don't go to compromise. I go because needs to do it, because you have to do, but I cut as much as I can compromise. For example, carbonara is made by eggs, guanciale, and pecorino cheese, or pecorino romano cheese, and that's it. And I never put cream inside, never put parmesan instead of pecorino, never put onions or something else, or parsley. And some people say to me, this is not carbonara. I say, no, this is carbonara because I'm from Rome, and this is Roman dishes. So I teach to you how is carbonara. If you don't like, in front of us there is one Italian restaurant. The name is Mama Roma. The chef is Russian. He will make for you with cream and bacon. Here you eat the real carbonara. If you want to eat the Russian carbonara, go there. And at the beginning we have some problem about it, but now many restaurants that you go to St. Petersburg, you will read on the menu carbonara, Rimskaya carbonara by Rims. And this is all my chef that works with me and they now work like chef in restaurant. They put my carbonara. Really, this one I can tell that I teach how to eat carbonara in St. Petersburg. It's me.
Okay. And what was St. Petersburg like as a city to live in? Somewhere I've always wanted to go. I have a good friend from St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg is a beautiful city, beautiful city. I lived there 10 years. maybe 12. Because I stayed 2 years in St. Petersburg, the first 2 years. After I moved 2 years to Moscow. After 2 years, I make between St. Petersburg and Moscow. And after I moved back to St. Petersburg. And the last 8 years, I lived in Sochi, to the Black Sea. And St. Petersburg is a wonderful city. At the beginning, I was very exciting, even not afraid about cold and everything. But after, I can tell you that for me, it was very difficult to live there because I'm meteopathic. I mean, I need to see sun. I need to see blue sky. And St. Petersburg is absolutely a great city for 33 years. So summer is 30 days for a year and it's raining, you know. Really, I mean, I was absolutely tired about it. That's why I decided at the end to move to Sochi, because Sochi is a really nice place to live in, maybe the best place to live in Russia if you want good climate, if you want nature, because at the same time you have sea and mountain at the same time.
Which is what you have in Kazakhstan as well, then.
Yeah, but in Kazakhstan you don't have sea.
Oh, okay.
This for me, even it's a little bit minus, you know, because you don't have sea and it's a minus for me. But okay, it's little minus, I mean. But yes, I miss by sea.
Okay. What made you move?
To Kazakhstan.
Hmm.
After Sochi, I lived 1 year in St. Petersburg because I had some project there. And from St. Petersburg, one investor said to me that he will open a very big Italian restaurant in Kazakhstan, and he asked me to help me. He makes me a very nice contract, and I decided to, because I didn't want to stay in St. Petersburg. I was tired about weather, and I say, I will go to Kazakhstan. I went, I stayed for months. I like enjoying, and I say, you know what, Davai, let's try to open, because I have my consulting company in Russia, and I opened Fatucci Consulting in Kazakhstan. And little by little, I find some clients, 1, 2, 3, Giardino, and okay, now I'm here 2 years and a half. I couldn't tell you that I will stay here always. You know, I mean, now, for example, they finish my collaboration with Giardino. I'm looking for several projects here in Kazakhstan, but even in Uzbekistan, can be back to Russia, can be Dubai, can be whatever. I mean, when it will be a nice opportunity, I will go. Giardino was the best project that I had here in Kazakhstan, but it was a cafeteria. It was a coffee bar. Okay, it's even more close to a restaurant, but the name here is cafeteria. You know, it should be for everybody. We make a lot of clients. We won the first Italian best restaurant in Kazakhstan from Where to Eat last year. 18th place best restaurant, not Italian, but in all Kazakhstan. We built very good reputation. And for me, it was very nice to work in the pastry and bakery position of Giardino, because I didn't have this opportunity before, so I improved a lot of my skills about bakery, viennoiserie, and pastry. Pastry before I had, but no, bakery no. Bread and everything. We make everything in Giardino from zero, from flavor to the bread. We make everything by ourselves. After Sochi, I lived 1 year in St. Petersburg because I had some project there. And from St. Petersburg, one investor said to me that he will open a very big Italian restaurant in Kazakhstan, and he asked me to help me. He makes me a very nice contract, and I decided to, because I didn't want to stay in St. Petersburg. I was tired about weather, and I say, I will go to Kazakhstan. I went, I stayed for months. I like enjoying, and I say, you know what, Davai, let's try to open, because I have my consulting company in Russia, and I opened Fatucci Consulting in Kazakhstan. And little by little, I find some clients, 1, 2, 3, Giardino, and okay, now I'm here 2 years and a half. I couldn't tell you that I will stay here always. You know, I mean, now, for example, they finish my collaboration with Giardino. I'm looking for several projects here in Kazakhstan, but even in Uzbekistan, can be back to Russia, can be Dubai, can be whatever. I mean, when it will be a nice opportunity, I will go. Giardino was the best project that I had here in Kazakhstan, but it was a cafeteria. It was a coffee bar. Okay, It's even more close to a restaurant, but the name here is cafeteria. It should be for everybody. We make a lot of clients. We won the first Italian best restaurant in Kazakhstan from Where to Eat last year. 18th place best restaurant, not Italian, but in all Kazakhstan. We built very good reputation. And for me, it was very nice to work in the pastry and bakery position of Giardino, because I didn't have this opportunity before, so I improve a lot of my skills about bakery, viennoiserie, and pastry. Pastry before I had, but no, bakery no. Bread and everything. We make everything in Giardino from zero, from flour to the bread. We make everything by ourselves.
Okay. Is Italian food in Kazakhstan well recognized and appreciated? I understand as well Italian wine are becoming more available in Almaty, for example.
Yeah.
Is there a large Italian population?
Actually, not so big, but of course there are several Italians. Like chef, we are only 3 Italian chefs here, so not so much. The other Italian community are people that work in oil and gas or architecture or engineer, because a lot of petrol company, a lot of this kind of project. So mostly works in petrol and in engineering project, gas and petrol.
And what is Kazakh food generally like? I mean, we're on the Silk Road, so I'm imagining lots of different influences from West as well as East, from China, Korea, Russia.
They have food culture that they say measa, 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 canina, 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 measa. It means that meat, 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 horse, 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 meat and horse. They eat this one. But at the beginning for me it was very strange. And after I make a study, I research, and I understand why. First, Almaty is not Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is very big and mostly is steppe. And Kazakh are nomad and they move a lot. And the weather in the steppe is very changeable. Can be very hot, it can be very cold in the same day. And of course, they have to eat this fat. They have to eat a lot of meat, lamb, horse, because they need it, because they need this protein, absolutely. And I understand why they eat like this. The main dish is bishparmak. Bishparmak, it's a different kind of meat boiled, some sausages, some piece of meat with some pasta. They make some pasta and vegetables that was in the bouillon, in the stock where they boiling meat. They likes very much meat. They really like it.
That bashbarmak sounds almost like an Italian dish with the noodles, the pasta, and this meat. I've heard that it's a sort of horse meat ragu.
Like bollito misto.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. But one thing, it's Muslim plate. They don't eat pork. Bolito misto have a lot of piece of pork too. Sausages, cotechino. We eat pork. And it's difficult even to work here because, for example, Parma ham, mortadella, salame picante is difficult to use, to introduce on the menu. Absolutely not possible to make the real carbonara here. I put in my restaurant real carbonara, but it was only for the Italians because all the other eats carbonara with beef smoked bacon, because they couldn't eat pork. I make 2 carbonara in the menu, one for Muslims and one for the other ones. So it means that you have to go to compromise that we was speaking before, because it's Muslim place, absolutely pork not possible to eat here. They eat a lot of lamb, they eat a lot of beef, they eat a lot of especially horse. Horse here is the main meat they eat.
Okay. What about drinking and wine culture? Is there a culture of aperitivo, for example?
Listen, they are Muslim, but they drink a lot. They don't have this kind of problem. They have problem with pork, but not with wine. No, aperitivo is not considered. Even in Russia, there are some things that doesn't work out of Italy. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. But really, in Russian here, aperitivo they don't make aperitivo like we say in Italy, in Rome, in Milano. That you go at 7 in the evening in some bar, you start to drink Aperol Spritz or some Negroni or some other cocktail, and the restaurant gives to you some food for free, that some bruschetta, some parmesan, some little things. It's just finger food, just to don't drink without any food. But this is what we mean aperitivo in Italy. In Russia, absolutely doesn't work. Here, doesn't work. Nobody do it. I don't know why, because probably people want to eat. Probably people want to sit. And even because in Italy, we don't drink Aperol Spritz or some cocktail during the dinner, okay, or the lunch. Here in Russia, they can eat pasta and drink Aperol Spritz. They can eat some carbonara and drink some cognac. For us, it's impossible. For us, it's impossible. On the table, you drink water or wine. That's it.
Okay. So is Italian wine well represented in Kazakhstan?
Yeah.
Is there
yeah.
a good selection available?
Yeah.
And are the Kazakhs interested and knowledgeable?
Yeah. A lot of Italian wine, not so big like in Europe or even in Russia, but there are wine Italian. You can find everything. Pieter Wine Trade, it's one of my partner here. It's importing a lot of Italian wine, especially I like because he imported not the commercial one or this, Aya, like Sassicaia or Nell'Aia, Solaia that everybody can. No, he make very good selection of wine. For example, from Umbria, from Marche. So wine that you can drink, not very expensive, but very high level. Because that you can drink Sassicaia and spend €1,000 for a bottle of Sassicaia, but in Italy you can drink the same level of Sassicaia for €30. The same level, just needs to search, just need to know where to buy. Still, we have this possibility in Italy to have wonderful wine for a really normal price. Really normal.
Yes, you're absolutely right there. And I'm glad to hear that wine imports to Kazakhstan are bringing in the interesting and real Italian wines. What are the wines that go best, do you think? What wines sell the best? Italian wines.
Prosecco.
Prosecco
is the highest seller in all Kazakhstan of Italian wine. This Prosecco. Everybody drinks Prosecco. After, especially, they go, of course, in summer with white wine, in winter with red wine. But again, my experience in Kazakhstan, it's from Giardino. And Giardino, it's a cafeteria. It's not a restaurant. And we don't sell a lot of wine. In summer, yes. In summer, a lot of Prosecco. In summer, a lot of spritz or cocktail, because people like. So we have very nice garden. We had very nice garden outside, and people like to sit there and Prosecco or something like this. But I can tell you, then people can come to have breakfast and drink limoncello, absolutely, without any problem.
Okay. Well, final question, Fabrizio. You're taking Italian cuisine, you've taken it to Russia, to Saint Petersburg, to Sochi. You've taken Italian cuisine to Almaty in Kazakhstan. I know you have projects going on in Tashkent in Uzbekistan. So you're taking Italian food, but also Italian culture with you. So my question is, Italian cuisine's been cited by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage. You've lived and worked in such a variety of countries and cultures. Why do you think that Italian food and wine are so universally loved wherever you go in the world?
I'm not bringing the Italian cuisine. I'm bringing the Italian culture. That is a little bit different. I bring around the world culture of my country, the philosophy of my country through the food. But I make culture. I show how we live. Why we have so big love with food. All Italians are in love with food. Because through food, our mothers show us how they love us. They cook not just because they have to feed us. They cook because they want to show us how they love us. And if you hear every Italian, he will say, you can bring him to the Alain Ducasse, 3 stars Michelin, 10 stars Michelin. But at the end, he will say to you, but the fettuccine that my grandmother do it, nobody do it like this. Every Italian will say it like this, because it's not question of food. It's question of culture. It's question of love. Through food comes emotions, comes love. And this is, we learn when we are young from our mother, from our grandmother, that they care about us and they care showing through food.
That's a beautiful description of what Italian food brings to the world. Fabrizio, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this morning. I know you're very busy. You've taken us to some really fascinating places that I'd certainly like to visit one day. So thanks for telling us about your work. And
You have my number.
okay, thanks for sharing Kazakhstan, to taking us there. It sounds like such a fascinating country, and it's somewhere I'd like to visit too. So grazie mille, and have a great day. Buona giornata.
Grazie a te. Ciao, ciao.
We hope today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on the Italian Wine Podcast has transported you to somewhere special. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.